What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hero Club podcast. I am your co-host, Micah Howell, and this is our other co-host, Brett McPeters. We are the co-founders of Hometown Heroes Sports Agency. We're excited to be here for this episode. Brett, if you
What's
want to kick
going
us
on?
off, today we're going to be talking about kind of the women's March Madness tournament, along with just kind of gender and women's sports all together, and how that market's kind of shifting and where we're going. So, Brett, if you want to kick us off.
Dude, yeah, it's been a blast. I will say, in all honesty, I think this is the first time I've really paid attention to the women's March Madness tournament, and it's been awesome. First of all, shout out to me and Micah in our March Madness brackets for the women's tournament. I think it was going into the Final Four, I was in the 99.8th percentile.
Yeah.
Or even I think going into the championship. And then we kind of dropped off at the end there, but we were riding our girls heavy in Ohio State and Maryland, which shout out to them. They had a great season, great run, both making it to the Elite Eight, putting up a good fight, trying to make it to the Final Four, went down to some good teams. So congrats to them on a great season. But yeah, man, it's been a blast. There's been a lot of record-breaking numbers and viewership and points and just all over the board. We've got LSU just won the whole thing, so that's pretty big time. But it's actually not how I thought that game was going to go, honestly.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeye, are they the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, they're the Hawkeyes.
That's what I thought. I was about okay. I blanked for a second and thought it was just the Hawks. No, but the Hawkeyes, they were rolling, dude. They looked unstoppable, especially after they put down South Carolina like that. But LSU put up, what was the final score? Like 100.
It was like 104 to.
Okay, I think last I saw was 102. But yeah, 104 points, dude. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Men's tournament isn't putting up numbers like that.
No, well, the crazy part is I looked at the over-under before the game, and it was set at like 150 or 160. I think it was 160. I was like, that's absolutely nuts. And then I looked at the score afterwards. I mean, it was 104 to 84, whatever it was. I mean, it was ridiculous.
It's wild, dude. But also, shout out to those two teams because both Iowa and LSU is their first time going to the national championship in their school history. So that's big time. And fun fact, actually, I was talking to my brother-in-law's dad today. He's a big basketball guy, but he was telling me that the LSU head coach was like a stud in college back in the day. I think she went to like Louisiana Tech or something like that. Okay. And as a player and as a coach, she's 4-0 in all title games. She hasn't lost in the national championship game.
Dang.
That's ridiculous.
That's a heck of a record. She wears she's known for all the outfits that she wears.
Wild. That's been my sister's favorite thing to watch this whole tournament. Every time she comes up, she's like, yeah, she's so known for her outfits, which she's right, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I knew her before. I knew that there was a women's basketball coach that wore wild outfits before I ever knew which team she coached.
Right. And I think she was like matching with her like granddaughter,
she was
or something like that in Final Four with like the pink flowers and stuff.
Yeah. They showed her granddaughter running out of the stands to come to her hug.
That's sick, dude.
It was cool. But awesome. Speaking of them, like this being their first time in the tournament, I think that's so good for the sport. Just because like that's the reason everybody watches men's March Madness is because like it's called March Madness. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Like nobody picks the winner. Nobody has any idea what's going to go on. Alabama was the number one team coming in, and they lost to San Diego State in Sweet 16. Nobody saw that coming. Nope. And so, like, you seeing this happen coming into the women's tournament, everybody thought South Carolina was just going to, like, run the floor. And South Carolina is great. Props to those girls. Like, what they accomplished this season was fantastic. But great for the sport in that anybody can win.
Oh, yeah. And I love it, dude, because, like, I'm excited that LSU won just for SEC, but they won 9 games last year.
That's insane.
I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that till today, but they literally won 9 games last year. And then you come back the next year and win a national championship. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, they got a lot of first off, their freshmen really stepped up and Flage. And then on
Yeah,
top of
dude,
that,
she's a stud.
yeah, well they got a transfer from Maryland last season, which I didn't know. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Reese, the
I was
center.
about to say she's also the other big name on that team.
Yeah. I want to say she was the transfer from Maryland. Um
Or what's their point guard's name? She's a
mm,
hooper too.
I can't remember.
She's number 43.
I'm
I know
blanking.
she's number 43, but I'm blanking on her name.
Yeah.
They were stacked, bro.
Yeah.
I love it too because they were sassy, dude. They
Yeah.
were there was a lot of smack talk in this women's tournament, and I loved it. Like
They,
Kaylin Clark against South Carolina. When did you see the video when she was like South Carolina girls top of the key, had the
yeah.
ball?
She
Somebody
just
was
waved her
pointing at her
off.
like guard her, and she was like, "Nah, she's good,
She
bro."
won't shoot.
She passed it away.
Yeah, she didn't do it.
She didn't shoot or anything. I was like, "Dang, dude, that's savage."
Dude, Caitlin Clark might be the like one of the greatest women to ever play in the March Madness tournament.
It's ridiculous, dude. The numbers she put up was wild.
Yeah. She put up 41 in that one game. So with a triple
She went
double, she
back
put
to
up
back
40.
41.
Was it? Yeah, you're right.
Elite Eight, she scored 41, and then the Final Four, she scored 41. But the Elite Eight, she had
Yeah.
41 and a triple double,
Yeah. Well, she
and
almost
then
had the
national
triple double in the final
championship.
four. She had like 8 boards. She just couldn't get the she couldn't. I think she had finished with 8 boards and like no, 8 assists and 6 boards or something like that. So
Dude,
she wasn't far off.
I thought her assists were more than that because I heard a crazy stat. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard in the Final Four game that she was either every like every play that happened or every time they scored, she either scored the point or she had the assist.
It felt like it watching the game.
Which I guess if you have 41 points and you only score like 70 as a team,
Yeah.
I mean
Well, I
that's
mean, like watching the game because like it was beautiful basketball to watch because like she would get the ball and they'd all come double her. And like she's a great player and she knows it and she'll pull up from the logo, but she'll also like she knows if the post player comes up to guard her, she's got a wide open player down there just on the block ready to put it up.
oh yeah, dude.
And she has no
She got
shame
good
with that
vision.
player. Yes. So
I love it, dude.
and her release is just so like I feel like I'm watching Curry when I watch her play basketball.
She's a shooter, bro.
Yes. Is
She's
nuts.
a shooter. So I also heard another story today. Because she was named like the National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And so she was surprised because she did a lot of the Children's Hospital above the Isle football field.
Yeah.
Or not above it, but like right next to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks over the field. She did a bunch of volunteer work in there, and then like she was actually offered like this huge NIL deal right before March Madness, and she kind of like not turned it down. She let it happen, but she wanted all that money to like go back towards
She didn't want them
like right. And so like they had I'm might be butchering this story because it's super cool, but I just heard it today. But they had like a lot of the kids from that hospital come and they were like reading her letters to her, and she was like sobbing and all this stuff because obviously super cool moment. And then right after that they were like, hey, thought this would be a great time to announce that you've been announced like the National Player of the Year. I was like, dude, that's what it's about, man. That's freaking awesome.
Dude, that's great. She's done a lot with kind of on the charity side of things. She did. So I saw this today also. I got it right here on my phone. But the community food pantry offered to give her an NIL deal and she insisted that she would work for free. But last year she raised $23,000. In this tournament in a week, she raised $16,000.
That's ridiculous.
So just like her publicity. Like it's insane.
That's wild.
What she's been able
And
to
it's
do.
probably only going to go up from here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially because I mean, I guarantee you she's going to be in the WNBA.
Yeah.
I don't know what year she is, but whenever she's eligible, she'll probably be in the WNBA.
She'll go get drafted. I don't know what year she is actually either. But yeah, it's nuts.
I want to say a sophomore, but I might be throwing that out there.
I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy. So it's wild watching watching her. Speaking of Caitlin, I saw some the other day. They called it the Caitlin Clark effect, but
She's a
they were talking
junior.
about like the ticket. She's a junior. Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, but they were talking about the ticket prices and what like just kind of her name and her publicity has been able to do for the sport just in ticket sales. The cheapest ticket to the women's national championship game was $254. The cheapest ticket to
That's
the men's, $73.
what?
Ridiculous. Insane.
Triple the amount?
Triple the amount.
That's
So
nuts.
if you had told me that stat a year ago, I would have looked at you like you were from a different planet.
Dude, every game's packed. I will say, I think it was Sweet 16. The first Sweet 16 game, I think it was like Maryland Notre Dame. It was in Greenville. It looked a little empty, but that's like the only game that I've seen that's been not been like just packed to the max.
Yeah. So, but I
Dude,
mean,
that's sick.
it's crazy. You're just watching the women's sports and like, especially this tournament, because I've paid a lot of attention to the women's side of the bracket on this tournament, and it's been so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah, dude. It's been a bust. I mean, it's good basketball too, dude. Like there's been
Yeah.
some good games, so
Yeah. Well, that's always been like kind of the knock on it for a long time, and I never watched it, so I never had much of an opinion against it, I guess. But I mean, watching this past tournament, like it's great basketball. I genuinely enjoyed watching those games.
yeah.
Honestly, I was more into the Maryland game than I have been into probably most Alabama games this season, and I'm an Alabama student.
That's awesome.
So,
That's what happens when you're representing the girls on the team, bro.
yeah, dude, it was a blast. I loved it.
That's
So,
awesome.
but real
Well,
cool.
tell us a little bit about the while we're talking about basketball. It's kind of the premise of this
Mhm.
episode anyway, but give us a little an outlook on the rise of women's sports in general, collegiate, professional, all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah,
know we've been talking about um, women's college basketball, so still on that note, tell us about ESPN and
yeah,
their like viewership rights and stuff like
yeah.
that.
Dude, ESPN pays right now $34 million for the rights to view or the rights to stream women's sports, women's basketball. Um, and that's kind of in conjunction with a couple other being able to stream a couple other things, but $34 million. I don't know exactly when that contract was signed, but I know that it expires next year after next season.
Hmm.
And when it's re-signed in 2020, or when there's a bidding war for it, I guess in 2025,
Four.
they
Well,
20
end of next season, right?
yeah, so like next summer, I guess, about a year from now ish. Uh,
2024. Yeah.
it's expected to be like roughly $100 million contract.
Good grief.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's
Do you
starting to
know what
compete
a
with sports.
viewership rights goes for in the men's league?
Not for men's basketball. I'm not entirely
Yeah.
sure. So
But
I
either
know,
way, dude, that's ridiculous.
yeah, no, it's absolutely insane.
I mean, it makes sense though, like especially in the like I think so this year the average viewership in the Elite 8 was 2.2 million views a game,
Mm-hmm.
43% higher than 2022.
Yeah,
Whole tournament viewership up 42% from 2022. And then even we were talking about it earlier, the viewership from 2021 to 2022 was like 81% increase. And then a 42% increase from that. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a spike in some numbers, man. That's nuts.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's be real here. Like we say that it's right now it's projected to be roughly $100 million. If it keeps growing at this rate and say this same stat, all these same stats come across next year,
Could be more.
yeah, I mean you're looking closer to 150. Like so plus on top of that, I mean you're starting to get to the point of like this is a bidding war. Like it's not just ESPN, they have to sign with ESPN. Like you'll
So I say
start
CBS, ABC, all those things, all those people can start
yeah.
hopping in.
Yeah, well now you're starting to see like Apple and people like that are starting to get in these bidding wars. Apple's
Yeah.
trying to work something out with the Pac-12 right now and trying to get in bidding wars over there. So I mean, it's once there's multiple
Amazon
people
too.
starting to get in these, yeah, once there's multiple people start trying to start getting a piece on these contracts, that's where it really goes up.
What do you think of the Amazon with Thursday Night Football?
I, as somebody who had Amazon and could watch it, I didn't really have an issue with it.
Same.
But with that said, if I didn't have Amazon and I had to buy Amazon just for that, I would have been pretty upset. So
The whole feel was weird too, though. Like, I don't know. It kind of just threw me off.
I will say this. I felt
Like
bad for
logging into
Amazon.
Amazon Prime to watch an NFL game just felt wrong.
Yeah. I felt bad for Amazon because like frankly the Thursday night games this year just weren't good. So
Well, dude, and I think the weirdest part, I shouldn't say the weirdest part, but like the crazy thing is like the amount of money they were throwing into it that early. Like Kirk Herbstreit's contract for him announcing those Thursday night games on Amazon, like ridiculous amount of money.
yeah. Well, you
And
got the think about it from Amazon's point of view, like you got to convince people to buy your membership just to watch this game. So like you have to get people like
no,
Kirk
I
Herbstreit.
agree. Totally. I
So
just think a vast majority was a little disappointed, but
yeah,
I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world, but it definitely was different.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. But
But
no, I mean I'm excited to see where women's sports as a whole, but particularly women's basketball ends up next year as far as media rights and kind of viewership numbers and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And
no, for sure.
it's super interesting because what a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to this women's sports type stuff are conferences. You know, like you look at, I mean, conference realignment that's happening right now. Everybody thinks about football. It's going to affect every conference. So you look at, we're bringing Oklahoma and Texas over the SEC. Like those are not
When is
just
that?
two football teams.
2026 or 2024?
I think it's 24. It was supposed to be 25, and then they finally worked out a deal to buy out of
Is it
the.
like start of 2024 season or after 2024? Because sometimes I feel like it'll be
I
like
want to say
after the
after.
2024 season.
No, I think start. Like I think next year is the first year or the last year without Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC.
That's weird. Like this upcoming football season.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
Shoo.
Right. So
Weird. I'm very interested to see how that goes. We'll get on that topic another time, but
yeah,
like I just think about the last time we did that. You brought Missouri and A&M in, which I like having A&M in the SEC, and it'll be a lot more fun now that A&M and Texas will be in there.
yeah,
But like I just remember all the hype of like Missouri people talking crap to the SEC, and they just got like waxed the first year.
yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how that goes across all sports because, I mean, Texas in basketball, that'll bring more competition. Obviously, the big talk is football, but baseball, there'll be a lot more competition.
Yeah.
Across the board, I think it'll be fun, but it's just going to be very interesting mix up in all aspects.
No, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. It's nuts everything that's happened in sports right now.
Yeah.
So
So, well, on top of that, too, that we've been talking about the rise in viewership and women's sports in general. Also, that a lot more people watching and the rise in women's sports is also bringing a big increase in our industry and women and NIL. Obviously, we've got some big time names, and I think 3 of the top 5
yeah,
are all in women's basketball, so that fits right in. But I think like I was looking in the top like 15 out of the like top 100 NIL values for all women was every single one of them was basketball or gymnastics, which is nuts.
yeah, yeah. No, it's crazy. I think we'll start to see a couple softball players slide in there now that we're starting to get to
Mm-hmm.
their season, and especially once we start to get more like summer and especially into I don't know. I feel like other sports kind of die down and softball, baseball kind of pick up a lot. So
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
that'll help them up. We'll see some people slide up there, but I mean it's crazy just watching how successful. It's not crazy. It's fully expected but just how successful a lot of these female athletes have been able to be in the NIL world. Whereas, I mean, your typical sports fan, whenever they think of athletes, they think of your star quarterback. And
Yeah.
so, like looking at this, it's crazy. I mean, you look at Livy Dunn; she's the highest woman in NIL value, and she has been able to make $3.4 million in NIL.
Which that is solely NIL. Think about how much money she's probably made from social media too, on with TikTok and Instagram and
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
yeah. Well, the other thing about all these NIL numbers is also like there's different rules about what's reported and what's not reported. So
Yeah.
these numbers aren't exactly always accurate.
And I
But
don't know if On3 reports it in a total valuation of like everything she's bringing, or like I don't know if that includes her social media as well,
yeah,
or
I'm entirely sure.
strictly NIL, but because that's where we get all our valuations from is On3.
Yeah,
Shout out On3. I will say, so the top two are Livy Dunn and Suni Lee, both
yeah,
gymnastics. I
yeah.
think Suni Lee is kind of expected. I mean, when you're an Olympic gold medalist
Gold
and you go to
medalist.
college.
She just had her last meet though at Auburn.
Dude, yeah, because she's about to start
She's
training
just training for
for,
the Olympics strictly.
what is it, Paris, right?
Yeah, Paris 2024.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah,
You
insane.
think she'll go back to college after?
I mean, she might finish online, but
Why would she?
yeah, I mean, she might. Who
Because
knows?
I know she wanted to get like the college experience, which a lot of respect there.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was awesome for her, but I'm sure that it was also for the college experience with friends and gymnastics and that kind of stuff. And like, I mean, she probably doesn't really need to worry about what classes she's taking.
yeah. I mean, you think about like, what do you think? I'm like her college experience has to be so different from yours and I's because like
Oh, dude, light
you and I
years.
walk into somewhere, you and I walk into a classroom and like we're another student. She walks
Yeah.
into a classroom and she just won the gold medal. Like I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Gets a standing ovation every time she walks in a class.
Yeah,
Well,
the
I think,
professor always points you out. Like,
yeah. Well, bro, I don't know if you saw this because this was what, like 2 years ago now, but her like freshman orientation thing in Jordan Hare Stadium, they like showed her, it was like all the freshmen coming into Auburn, and they showed her on the big screen, and everybody just started doing like USA chants. Like that kind of stuff, dude. Like that's wild. But I'm sure obviously hanging out with your gymnastics team, and there's probably hopefully some people in college that treat you like a normal person.
yeah. Well, so my sister's got a friend who does a lot with gymnastics at Auburn, and like
Mhm.
they're all friends. Like they all, I don't know if it's like necessarily completely they treat her like just
Yeah.
another person on the team, but I mean it seems like it from everything that I've kind of heard about it. It seems like they're all just
And
really good
I'm
teammates.
and I'm sure at first it was probably like not awkward, but like a little weird, especially other incoming freshmen with her. But I mean, as a team, like you spend every day together, practice together, compete together. Like that just builds a bond between people that's hard to break. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's awesome.
No, that's true. I mean, like I played football with George Pickens in high school, and I mean, we all knew he was a 5-star athlete. We all knew he
Yeah.
was gonna go. He was actually committed to Auburn for a while, so we all thought he was going to Auburn, but then
Nope.
decommitted. We all knew he was going to Georgia.
Go
So I
dogs.
mean, it was it we but every day it was like the same. Like he was another receiver that we lined up, and me on the scout team, I had to go against. But I mean, it really was. It's kind of the team atmosphere. So it's cool.
That's wild.
Now, what would be interesting in Sunni Lee's case would be how the coach treats it. Like, how do you get on top of that as a coach coming in, and like, hey, on August 6th, we have an Olympic gold medalist that's showing up as a freshman to join our team, and I have to make sure that she's another person on the team.
Yeah, I was about to say the only chance you got is to treat her like everybody else. I mean, I think that's what those athletes kind of hope for anyway. I
Yeah.
wonder if there's any communication between like her Olympic coach and trainer with her college coach. Has to be, right? Especially right now.
Absolutely. You start getting
knowing
like
she's about to go start
type of stuff.
training for it.
Yeah. You said, I mean, like her nutritionists, like all of those people are 100% communicating with Auburn's team every day.
It's wild, dude.
So
be cool to be that important.
Yeah. One day.
So, yeah. So, okay. Our top two are gymnasts. The other three, which I guess technically four, because you got the Cavender twins are in third.
Yeah. And then Paige and Flage.
Which is wild, dude. A freshman. Flage's a freshman.
Yeah.
You're in the top 5 NIL valuation of all women in college sports, and you're a freshman. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, she's a baller though, and I mean, like you look at one,
she's got
the brand of LSU behind her, so like that's big. She's great at basketball. I mean, let me tell you, like you watch her and it's just like flawless. It's just so pretty to watch. So, and I mean, her team, like it's all the pieces kind of aligned in that case for her value just to skyrocket.
Yeah.
So,
where do you think? I think I saw that. I don't know how recent the On3 valuations were that I was looking at, but I saw Caitlin Clark was at like, I want to say like 15 or 20, somewhere around that range. Where do you see her valuation moving towards?
First off, I think that her social media following is gonna absolutely skyrocket. And
oh, for sure.
In turn, I mean, like Caitlin Clark has almost become a household name, and like that is Brittany Griner.
Yeah, when you do that,
is the last person that I was the last like women's basketball player that was a household name, and so like that's crazy to think about. Is like she could have that type of impact on NIL. I mean, I could honestly fully see her jumping to 2, if not 1, on this list within the next couple months.
Wow. Okay, I was gonna ask if you think she was even gonna touch the top 5, but you think she goes to number 1?
If I am,
I think one's a push.
If I'm
Heavy push.
If I'm a company and I'm looking to sign anyone right now, if I'm Under Armour and I'm looking to sign somebody to a shoe deal right now, Caitlin Clark is the number 1 person on my list.
I agree. But dude, going from, because let's see what her valuation is.
Because like here's the thing, like she's been a baller all year. Like people knew who she was at Iowa, but her performance in the tournament was just nuts.
Dude, number one might be a really hot take.
Number 1, I'm not sure she's gonna pass Livy just because of Livy's social media following.
Because I was about to say Livy's number 3 overall in the country behind Bronny and Arch Manning.
Yeah, but I can 100% see her giving Suni Lee a run for her money at 2. So
okay, so she is at 15 right now, valued at 192,000.
Yeah,
and Suni Lee's valued at 1.4 million.
If I am Under Armour, I am 1,000% going to Caitlin Clark right now, and I'm not writing a blank check, but I'm writing a heavy check to make a shoe for Caitlin Clark.
I agree, bro, but 162,000 to 1.4 million, that's a absurd jump.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna have to take this to Moolah Kicks in our company over there. But they if I'm them, I'm going to Caitlin Clark and saying, hey, let's make you a signature shoe. Women's basketball shoe for women.
I think if I'm Moolah Kicks, I'm naming my company after her.
Thanks. I'm gonna talk to our partner over there, see what we can work out.
See if they can give you a credit for the idea.
I will take $1 on every purchase and be a millionaire by tomorrow.
Probably not wrong. Well, not tomorrow, but
not tomorrow. But I mean, like, let's think about it. Like
I'll give you top 5, bro. She's moving top 5. Even though like it's already tough to compete because 3 through 5, Cavender twins were in the Elite 8.
Yeah.
UConn, Paige Buckers. I don't think they made it to the Elite 8. Were they? No, they lost in the Sweet 16, I think.
Yeah, they lost to Ohio State.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Flage Johnson, just won the national championship. Bro, they've already got such a head start on her, and they're probably going to go up too. I agree, dude. She's going to skyrocket. It's going to be like one of the quickest jump in valuations in NIL we've seen.
Yeah.
We'll have to check back up on this because number 1 or 2 is absurd.
Dude, I'm talking like I want these stats in the next month about what she's done between April 1st and April 30th.
All right. 2 episodes from now. We'll check back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put it on your calendar.
You got to remember that one. I'll write it down. So, because like she's got all the potential in the world.
That's crazy, dude.
So
I agree, man. Especially is women's draft the same? Like you have to play. How many years do you have to play? Is it the same?
I'm not positive on that actually. I don't know if they have like a one and done or if you have to play for 4, play for 3. I don't know what that looks like.
She's a junior, so there's a very high possibility we will not see her in college basketball ever again.
I was about to say I don't think they'd make it more than 3 because you can graduate in 3 years realistically. So like they would.
Nah, dude, she's going to the league.
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of players that throughout this tournament I've seen them talk about going to the league. Diamond Miller for Maryland, she's projected like I think 3rd or something like that in the draft.
Sheesh.
So, dude, I'm gonna watch the WNBA draft. I'm telling you,
I'm down.
I'm kind of excited for it.
I'm down, dude.
We'll have a watch party. So
that's awesome.
I'm about to be the biggest women's college basketball fan in the U.S. Book it now. So I'm gonna paint some.
Next month we sign like 25 women's college basketball players.
Book it. Look, I'm gonna put some hair on Kobe back here.
Nah, don't touch that thing. It's beautiful as is. It's the GOAT, dude.
That's crazy. Well, I mean,
don't touch Kobe.
Yeah, you're right. On the note of women and kind of some of the deals they've done and their value, what have been some of the things we've seen with Hometown Heroes athletes over the past, women's athletes particularly?
Yeah. So like we said earlier, I mean, we had 3 girls in Hometown Heroes athletes that were in the Elite 8 have made a solid run. We had 2 girls on Maryland and 1 girl on Ohio State, and then we also have a Maya Simmons plays at Alabama A&M. But some awesome stuff. I know Faith, she had big deal going in. She was a part of that Steve Madden deal leading up to March Madness that signed a lot of women to that shoe deal.
Yeah, 16, I think.
Yeah, that's sick. Faith and Amaya have both been a part of Moolah Kicks and company we've talked about a lot with the really first women's basketball shoe that is made specifically for women. So that's been an awesome deal. I know Ricky in Ohio State, she's been killing her merch line.
Yeah.
With the partner we have with Booths of Biz, she's got her own merchandise online and got her own.
She did an Urban Outfitters deal too.
Ricky?
Yeah.
I think I did see that. Yeah. And she actually, so her first line of clothing she did so well that I think a week or 2 ago, they dropped another line of merch for her, did a whole new redesign, a new drop and stuff. So she's been killing that. I think Faith did Urban as well. And then one cool thing back to Amaya, we've been able to do a deal with a bunch of our different athletes with this company called Ticket Smarter. That's trying to make a name for themselves in the ticket sales. And she was able to market the Super Bowl, which is sick. Not too many people get to say too often that they are marketing the Super Bowl and advertising tickets for Super Bowl. I mean, that's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
So a lot of, really cool things, successful for a lot of our girls. Basketball in general. This is, it's kind of just what we're talking about now, but it's been cool to see a lot of, like I said, Faith has been all over the board, getting a lot of stuff done. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where our athletes are able to go in NIL, but two, I mean, just female athletes in general, like where that market continues to grow in viewership and in media rights and in ratings, but also where that starts to affect NIL and their value there. So, because I think it'll do a lot. So excited for it.
Love
Well, last little thing here. We this releases tomorrow, and the men's championship is tomorrow night. So what's your pick for the men's March Madness championship?
I said, was that 2 games ago now? I said winner of UConn Gonzaga game was winning the whole thing. And I'm standing with my pick. UConn's legit, bro. I unfortunately did not have them going that far in my bracket, which was a big miss, which I think a lot of people can say. But I mean, nobody's played them close, dude. Like every game that they played recently has been like no one's playing them within like 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, the Miami game last night, like I thought it would be close. Like I thought UConn was gonna win, but I didn't think that they were just gonna like take a lead and never look back.
Bro, dude, in that game with Miami, like they were trying so hard. Every time they would sniff coming back at all and like closing the gap at all, UConn would just bang, bang. They got sharpshooters, bro.
Yes.
They're nasty. I got UConn to cover.
Yeah, UConn started the game with like 3 straight threes by the same guy. Went 3 for 3 from the arc.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
I got UConn to cover.
7.5. That's a big spread for a championship game.
Dude, they're keep on rolling, dude. I think San Diego State's a good basketball team. I think the last game was a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
There was a stat. It was like I can't remember. It was either FAU or San Diego State, but both teams were on the same track. One of them had like 15 missed layups, and like they were missing free throws, and they were like it was a good game. Like obviously buzzer beater to win the game. Like it was a great game to watch because they were both kind of on the same level of how they were playing. But I mean, the way that San Diego State played against FAU, if they play like that against UConn, that cover is getting hammered, dude. Like,
dude, I would have to agree. I think UConn's going to cover. I mean, 7.5 is a ton for a championship game, but I mean, UConn looks so.
They're nasty, bro. I mean, obviously, there's the potential of it to be a ridiculous game. It's a national championship. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like, both made it this far. There's no telling, but dude, I think UConn's going to come out hot.
Yeah.
What's the over under? Do you know?
Let me look real quick. I will say this: as an Alabama fan, I would feel a lot better if San Diego State won just after they beat us.
Always better to lose to the champion than not.
Now I will say I'm happy that we lost to the team that's playing for the championship game at least. So I'll give them that. The over under is 132.5. So that's actually.
So you're telling me their over under is 132 and the women's was like 160 or 150?
Dude, it was 160. It was 80 a piece.
All right, I'm taking over and the cover.
The over is 66 a team.
Dude, I'm taking over and UConn covering.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over on that one.
It's a lock.
That seems really low for that game. Now, granted, both teams are really good at defense. I'll give them that. But 66 a team is not much.
Dude, UConn's electric. I'm going, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my call. You got to go something different, though. I said it first. UConn covering and the over.
I'm going to take the over, but I'm going to take San Diego State to cover. I think 7.5 is a lot. I think they'll keep it around 5 or 6. That's a real pick. I think that can happen.
I think the over is definitely happening. Watch, now the under is going to hit because we both said the over.
Look, Vegas.
No way, dude.
Vegas is listening.
No way the under.
They know that all of our listeners now are taking the over, and they can't afford that loss.
That's right. Everybody go take my picks. It's a lock. I promise you. I'll win you some money.
Man. All right. Well, that's another fantastic episode of the Hero Club. So, any
we'll
parting
keep record of all
words?
that, and we'll come back next week and let you know who won. Well, I guess you'll know by tomorrow, but
yeah,
who gets the bragging rights?
Absolutely. We'll brag next episode. We'll also come back with
I'll
Caitlin
brag.
Clark's next valuation when she's number 2. And I'll brag.
In 2 weeks, bro? No,
2 weeks. In a month.
That's wild. All right. We'll see.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Hero Club. We'll be back not next Monday, but another Monday from that. And so we're excited for our next episode, and we appreciate y'all listening. So we'll talk to you later.